Okay, so now that the dust has settled on my first controversial moment, becoming public enemy number one of Vivzipop because I committed the indefensible crime of using an unfunny meme to make a point about audience reactions, I can breathe a little. And I'll admit, her joke about being a dragon that hoards swear words actually did make me chuckle to visualize. But now it's time for me to step back and commit myself to something totally uncontroversial, being the only person to openly say that Kpop Demon Hunters is a movie. Hey, wait a minute there. I know you want to click out now, but give me a second and hear me out. And trust me, this is not one of those sus hear me out situations you'd hear in a comment section. The Bad Guys 2, Fixed, Dogman, Day the Earth Blew Up, and Pixar's Elio all released this year.
Who greenlit this garbage?
And yet none of them stirred up as much attention as Kpop Demon Hunters or Ne Zha 2. Seriously, it's been damn near impossible to avoid either of these films. Over the past week alone, I've seen tons of people saying they gave into the hype and watched both. Now, I've already seen Kpop Demon Hunters the week it came out, not because I'm some social media lemming who follows every who am I kidding? That's literally what I did for Ne Zha 2, and not just Ne Zha 2, I even went back and watched the first film. And let me just say, for the longest time I assumed this series was one of those cheap Shrek knockoffs from overseas. And honestly, in hindsight, the first one kind of was that, but holy shit. Outside the childish humor and whatever the hell those little knockoff minion things were supposed to be, the action and choreography were both nothing short of genius. Not only that, but it told the hated demon craving acceptance story incredibly well, even if it was simple. Then you get to Ne Zha 2, and it just amps it up about 1,000 times over. Basically a 2.5-hour runtime of Dragon Ball Z fights if they were actually animated well. Except for the Broly film, that one actually slaps. What I'm trying to say is, Ne Zha absolutely deserves the love it's getting, where shows like Hazbin Hotel fumble the whole angels are corrupt, demons are misunderstood idea. Ne Zha nails it. Its portrayal of sympathetic demon characters is so strong that it actually made me realize what I felt was missing from Kpop Demon Hunters. So let's dive into that. But first, just a reminder to drop a like below if you're enjoying the video, and leave me a comment on what you thought of Kpop Demon Hunters. First things first, I know some people in my comments are gonna say, nobody hated the film, Mr. Boone. Well, that's just not true. I may be a 31-year-old fossil, 32 next week by the way, but I use TikTok, Instagram, and occasionally find myself doom scrolling through YouTube shorts and reels on Instagram. And you know what kept popping up? People posting about how 2025 was the year no one will remember. Dubai Chocolate, Matcha, and of course, Kpop Demon Hunters. Now, I don't agree that the film was bad or deserving of being on this list. I do think it was a safe and very marketable movie that didn't do anything particularly special outside of its animation, and also yes, I know a lot of people hated the anime faces. In my opinion, completely unjustly so. They were fun and breathed a lot of life into a movie that was pretty bland overall. Really harkened back to the old days of Teen Titans. They were, in my opinion, the best part of movies like Turning Red, and they were also the best part of this movie. That said, here's my issue with Kpop Demon Hunters, and why I feel like it probably will fall short in most people's memory, and why some people probably hate it deep down to a certain degree. It's brilliantly animated, it's packed with some of the catchiest earworms of this year, and trust me, I have the whole album on Spotify on repeat. But beyond that, there's just not much else to it. It's a perfectly fine film on its own, but I wanted more substance. Instead, the film just handed me a can of soda pop. Ironically, the soda pop song is actually the closest it comes to saying anything about the K-pop industry, as the song is a literal metaphor for the demon soul-sucking boy band that made it. But even that gets entirely glossed over. It never fully commits to anything beyond demons bad. Insanely overproduced K-pop? Potentially bad? No, not at all, let's move on. But that aside, the movie plays out like a neatly packaged promotional video for K-pop artists and fictional ones. And with just how successful it was, some of them might actually become the next Gorillaz. Hell, they're even talking about live-action spin-offs and sequels. To which, can we just stop with the live-action meme, please? Pretty sure we learned from the Powerpuff Girls that it's just not worth your time. The truth is, the movie was made for K-pop fans and light enjoyment on a Friday night, and not much else. Sure, we get glimpses of Rumi's development as a half-demon, but it never digs below the surface. We see moments where the girls are distressed over views and online popularity, and hey, I get that. I literally tried watching the same week my channel got terminated for posting Speederoo Titty on main, and I had to stop because it reminded me of the sweet dopamine rush of YouTube uploads and views. But even when the movie finally does show the girls chasing numbers, it doesn't critique it at all. In fact, it doubles down. Keep making music, keep chasing popularity. And that's where the film stumbles hardest. It's not just a little bit vapid, it's too deep in fan culture to ever say anything critical about the fans, the industry, or the predatory producers. Not to be the guy who gets on a soapbox about kids' movies' social messages, but come on guys, this is just lame. And that ties into one of the most frustrating things about how people defend the movie. You'll hear fans say, it's a bold film because it shows women being cringe. And sure, nothing's wrong with that. I love that. I love the expressive facial animation, and I'd happily throw along sushi myself, but let's not act like this is some grand statement. Like, wow, their manager lets them eat and be goofy? Come on, man. It's the exact reason you'll see plenty of snarky jokes about how unrealistic the movie is when browsing the internet. Well, obviously jokes, because I mean, it's a movie about demon hunters. It still reflects some of the discontent people feel for the film hardly saying anything at all, for the stressful conditions many K-pop stars live under. I mean, goddamn, I don't need it to be Sony Animation's version of Perfect Blue, but hell, even Oshinoko says more about the industry, despite being incredibly cringe, or the less said about that ending, the better. But to me, the most damning problem with the film that brought it down overall was the message on acceptance. The film builds up a theme that being a demon isn't inherently evil, showing characters struggling with shame and manipulation. Rumi even questions whether the demons act by choice. But in the climax, the heroes triumphantly slaughter and seal away the demons as if evil is purely black and white, ignoring the nuance the story had developed about them. You feel the ending pretty much undercuts the film's own message. Whereas on the other hand, Ne Zha leans heavily on the idea that identity isn't fixed by birth or destiny. It's in fact shaped by the choices you make. And this is a film coming from goddamn social credit ass China, no less, which legitimately feels like the days in which Russia used to release banger films under the Iron Curtain. Overall, I'm genuinely happy that both Ne Zha 2 and Kpop Demon Hunters are blowing up. But to me, it's kind of lame that where Ne Zha has something real to say with its demons, Kpop Hunters is content being light, poppy, marketable as an experience with little to nothing to say beyond buy the album on iTunes and come sing along at the theater with that one guy from Community.
Ha! Gay!
And look, I'm not trying to make this my Mr. Enter 9/11 Hill to Die On, about how K-pop stars are starved to death. I just wish the film had explored deeper subtext with the demons and their connection to K-pop culture, since there were plenty of chances to explore something more meaningful, but the film settles for a breezy, easy digestible experience drifting from one scene to the next without any real depth, or further exploration. Because in the end, it is an enjoyable, fun, light film to watch. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just feel like in the coming years, it's not going to leave much of an impact, because I feel like at the end of the day, you might as well have just watched a bunch of League of Legends KDA music videos on YouTube, as just like those, they're gorgeously animated and are basically just massive promotions for K-pop stars. But that'll be all, guys. I'll see you next week.